Hi, I'm Chris McClure, and this is case study for EDL 854 Building Finance. First, let's establish some facts. For this case study, I am Carl Santos, the principal of Briardale Elementary School. It is a K-5 building with enrollment of 600 students. Briardale is one of 6 elementary schools that feeds 2 middle schools and 1 high school in the district. Since my school is near the center of town, it also serves as a community meeting center. Our school district focuses on basic skills and bases our instructional objectives on student performance using funds that are distributed by the superintendent. Funding supplemental curriculum has been the responsibility of separate foundations that support each district school. The foundations are chaired by parents who raise funds and then make recommendations to each principal, who in turn forward the recommendations to a school site curriculum committee. Parents at Briardale have been very supportive of our supplementary programs such as art, music, and foreign language. This year, a parent new to Briardale, Mr. Bairley, was selected to lead the foundation. Mr. Bairley felt he was capable of raising enough funds to supplement numerous subjects in addition to what has been funded in the past. Mr. Bairley also wanted to outperform a rival from college, Mr. Morley, who is the president of another school's foundation. Mr. Bairley suggested that the Briardale Foundation sell raffle tickets, a fundraiser that was very profitable during his time in college. The proposal was supported by the foundation members and proceeded. However, on the night of the drawing, Mr. Bairley was escorted from the school by officers to the sheriff's office, booked, and released. He was later convicted of a misdemeanor and placed on probation. The incident was an embarrassment for me, Briardale Elementary, and the entire district. Are there any legal or ethical issues? It's possible that Mr. Bairley violated state gaming statutes. As of 2016, 46 states and the District of Columbia had enacted legislation controlling raffles. In addition to the legal ramifications for Mr. Bairley and the Briardale Foundation, the reputations of Briardale Elementary and the school district have been tarnished. So to summarize, the president of the Briardale Foundation, Mr. Bairley, initiated a raffle fundraiser that resulted in his arrest and misdemeanor conviction, as well as embarrassment for the Briardale Elementary and the school district. Now I'll present some potential missing information, beginning with people. The question I have is why none of the people listed, including me, alerted Mr. Bairley of the regulations regarding a raffle fundraiser. Was it just assumed that he had completed the proper licensing? Did anyone inquire into the legality of the raffle prior to its approval? For place, a question would be the location of Briardale Elementary. As I am the presumed principal, I have proceeded as if it is in Kansas. According to Kansas Department of Revenue Raffle Amendment SCR 1618, any nonprofit with annual gross receipts from a raffle of more than $25,000 must be licensed and regulated by the Office of Charitable Gaming or a successor agency. For programs, I wonder why the district doesn't have sufficient funding for supplemental programs. Should the foundations be relied upon to fund these programs? In the next section, I will review and prioritize the information. First, I think our administration, staff, and foundation need to weather the storm of negative publicity. Our parents and community will want answers. We must provide them with honesty and transparency, as well as an assurance that steps will be taken to prevent a similar situation from occurring in the future. Next, we need to decide what to do with the proceeds from the raffle. Should the foundation follow the steps to become licensed and regulated by the state and finish the raffle, or should they attempt to return the money to those who contributed? If the money is returned, how will our supplemental programs be funded this year? Is there time and opportunity to hold a different fundraiser? Our next step will be to provide guidance for the foundation as they establish policies and procedures for their fundraisers. If such policies already exist, they should include an approval process to provide sufficient levels of supervision and consent. For Section 6, I am proposing 3 options. The first option is to take no action. Refer all questions to the foundation, use the money raised to supplement the curriculum, and proceed as if it is business as usual. The second option is to eliminate the foundation. Doing so would require Briardale to develop another method of fundraising or the possible elimination of some of the supplementary curriculum programs. A third option would be to assist the foundation as they establish or review existing policies in order to provide better control of their fundraising activities. For Section 7, I will describe the pros and cons of each option. The first option is for Briardale to take no action. By distancing itself from the foundation in the debacle, Briardale may be able to avoid some of the negative publicity. The foundation needs to be held accountable and to assure all stakeholders that the problems will be addressed. If no action is taken, nothing changes or improves, and the negative perception associated with the raffle increases. However, forcing the foundation to fend for itself may create a situation that jeopardizes future curriculum funding. For the second option, eliminating the foundations, the pros would be that there would be more accountability for any future fundraisers and that a debacle like this would be less likely to occur because the school would be running and operating the fundraising. The cons include increased time and responsibility for administrators at the school and district level, reduced participation from parents and community members, and potentially reduced supplemental funding. For the third option, assisting the foundations install some controls, the pros would begin with ensuring that fundraising policies are in place and followed. If policies do not exist, then they will need to be written. Next, an approval process will allow for greater control of the fundraising method. Third, this option will provide for increased communication between the administration and the foundations. And the last pro would be that some consistency is added to the process, as well as the ability to make certain that multiple foundations are not utilizing the same fundraising technique. The drawback to this option is the increased time and effort for each building administrator to make sure these policies and procedures are followed. There would also need to be coordination among the administration. The option I would choose is option number 3, helping the foundation establish some effective controls. Because the foundation operates outside of the school, the district cannot enforce its rules and regulations upon the foundation and its members. But this option demonstrates to stakeholders that the administration is working to prevent a debacle like this from occurring in the future. The foundation should continue to be chaired and administrated by parents. As a principal, I would offer my assistance to the foundation in formulating a plan to prevent another debacle. To implement this plan, I would propose that the foundation determine if any policies or procedures exist for fundraising. If said policy does exist, is it being followed? Does it simply need to be tweaked? Is it a matter of compliance? Next, I would suggest that each foundation communicate its fundraising plans with the school administration and coordinate, rather than compete like we have in the past, with the other foundations to provide a variety of fundraisers and to maximize fundraising potential. If every fundraiser is doing the same type of fundraiser, it might saturate the community too much, so having a variety of fundraisers might help each of them. And then lastly, I would suggest financial policies to safeguard the fundraising proceeds. So what may happen in conjunction with this decision? One possibility is that the foundation members will welcome the assistance and oversight from the administrators. Having someone with knowledge and understanding of school finance may be seen as an asset. On the other hand, as an independent organization, they may resent having school officials looking over their shoulder or feel like they are being controlled. Obviously, the principals, foundation members, and district administration would need to be involved and informed about these decisions. And to mollify concern in the community, it would be wise to circulate the policies in town and the surrounding areas. In conclusion, assuming the foundation fundraising practice has been successfully utilized for years without incident. This isolated episode should not significantly damage the reputation of the district. Briardale Elementary, working with the foundation, can regain the trust of stakeholders and continue to provide supplemental funding for the students of the community. Thank you for your attention.